Hi guys, so we are out in the yard today looking for some good sticks that we can use to cut into drawing tools for our homemade ink. So my very tall husband has come out here and agreed to help me cut some sticks, so let's see which ones he chooses. Looks like a good one. Whoa. Okay. What about this one? Do this one. Yeah. I think I'd make a nice thinner one. So this time of year, you know, fall, it's the time when people usually prune back their trees anyway, as the trees start to lose their leaves and get ready for the winter. So this is, if you're going to make some homemade drawing utensils, this is a really good time to do it. If you have to prune some trees anyway, it's a good time to get some drawing implements out of it too. I've got a couple here that I've already made. I'll show you guys how to make them from some of the sticks that we cut tonight. You can see these have been dipped in ink and used. I'll actually show you how to make a drawing with some of these in just a little while. So we have a lot of freshly cut branches, and so the next step is going to be to figure out which of these is going to make a good ink pen. So here's one that I've already made. You can see it's got purple ink on it. I've used it for some calligraphy. There's another big piece. So picking like the section that you think would make a good brush is kind of intuitive. You've got to get a sense for like where it's going to sit in your hand and like what the most comfortable part to hold might be. So I'm looking at my branches right now, trying to decide what I want to make a pen of. Just really kind of turn it around, get a feeling for how you might hold it. Yeah, I have a feeling this part right here might make a really nice brush. I like the way that that sits in my hand. I like that there's kind of a counterbalance here. So if I'm going to use this piece, then I need to cut away all of the pieces that I don't want. To do that, the tool I have today is a box cutter. Well, I guess this is actually more of a utility knife. It folds up when it is not in use. So whenever you're not using your utility knife, you need to make sure to fold it up and put it away. If you're in the art room, you need to talk to me and work with me to get clearance to work with your utility knife. And if you're working from home, you need to talk to your parents and make sure that you have permission to use a tool like this. It is any tool, if used improperly, can potentially be dangerous. With this tool, you want to make sure that you are always cutting away from yourself, okay? Never cut towards yourself. Don't cut on your lap. Don't cut towards your little brother. Don't cut towards your dog, okay? Just be really, really careful with it. They're very, very sharp, and I have a pretty good scar on one of my fingers that proves that you can cut yourself very easily if you're not paying attention and if you start cutting towards yourself, okay? Don't be tempted to do it because it will end in tragedy, okay? So the easiest way to get these extra branches off is, well, I guess depending on your branch, but is to just kind of use your hands to break them. And so if I wanted to make, you can make a really, really long drawing tool. It's kind of fun to have a really long drawing stick. I could just leave it how it is and cut a tip down here and just have a really long drawing stick, which would be fun. You end up getting lots of different kinds of mark when you don't hold it like a traditional, when you don't hold your tool like a traditional pencil. Okay. Trying to feel how I would hold this best in my hand. Now that I've taken those big branches off, I kind of feel like I maybe like to hold it down there. So I'm going to probably pop some of this off up here. There we go. Actually, that might be better. Like I said, it's an intuitive process and it's a process, so You gotta kind of just respond to what's happening right in the moment. Ooh, I think that's even better right there. I can feel that that's gonna be a good hold. I like that this is already broken down here though, so I think I might make this work. I think I'm gonna go with this way. Okay, so now I'm breaking out my utility knife. When I have it out, I am going to focus on cutting and nothing else. I'm not going to get distracted by anything else. I'm also going to always make sure that I'm cutting away from myself. So if you look at these pins that I've already made, you can see that the tip is sort of pointy. So you carve toward a point on both sides, and then on both sides this way. You'll want to make it kind of flat at the tip. You want to strip away the bark just on the end, okay? So I'll show you how to do that. So again, cutting away from yourself. And some of you guys already probably do some whittling at home. I am not much of a whittler myself, so I have to remind myself every time I use a tool like this to be very careful, because I'm kind of clumsy anyway. So yeah, so I'm just stripping the bark away to try to make a place where I can make a tip for my pen. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of that bark stripped away. It's nice to make your tools sometimes. Like, you can always go to the art store and buy some things, but it's good to go out into the yard and be able to make a tool that you can use for free. I like free stuff. I bet you do too. All right, so I'm just trying to make more of a point. Okay, I'm not gonna make this into a sharp end, because that's not gonna be good for holding ink. Okay, you can see my brushes. Sorry, I've got a little pokeberry juice on my hands from earlier, but you can see my brushes have like a blunt end. You don't want to make this like a spike. Okay, so what I want to do to make my tip is come across here. Kind of just gently rock it. Do not be tempted, because you could really easily think, oh, I need to do one of these. Do not do that. What are you cutting toward? You're cutting right towards your finger, okay? Don't do it. Unless you want to go to the ER and get some stitches, do not do that. Be a little patient. It might take a little longer to do it this way. Okay, so I've got the bluntness of it. I want to make it a little thinner still, because I don't feel like it's thin enough now that I've cut some of that off. So try to make it a little thinner. And you can see how it's going from wide back here to thin at the tip. That's what I'm working for, is making a thinner tip. Okay, that's pretty good. I have a feeling that's going to hold ink pretty well. One thing that you'll notice when you carve something like this is that the wood, especially if you take it right off a tree like we did today, is going to be a little wet when you carve it. So right now it's a little too soft and wet to use an ink. What I would recommend doing is just, let it sit out for a day or two, so that this part can really dry out. I would recommend going ahead and getting your branches off of a tree, rather than finding a branch on the ground. Branches you find on the ground are going to be too brittle often to carve. So find one off of a tree and then let it sit overnight, and then you can use it in your ink. So the next step I'm going to do is show you guys how to use this for making a painting or maybe doing some calligraphy. Hi guys, so I am trying out a couple of the new drawing tools that we've made. I've got some ink and one of my drawing sticks here. So as you're drawing, you just want to have your ink ready. You'll have to dip pretty regularly into the ink. It's fun to kind of practice drawing different things. I've got this little guy sitting right here, this little deer thing. Maybe I'll try to draw it. I think it would be better this way. All right, so this kind of material is really different than you know, a regular marker. You have to keep dipping. One of the cool things, you're going to get really different marks, like things you wouldn't get with just a regular pen and ink. So give it a try. I found this little deer thing at a thrift store when I went shopping once with my aunt. Its face is kind of interesting to me, so it sits here on my desk and it's gonna get drawn today. Kind of have to hustle with drawing like this. Make a quick decision and deal with it. The ink dries pretty quick on the page. It's good for practicing gesture drawing. You have to be quick. So there's a quick little sketch of the deer. You can also, I will tell you up front, I am a horrible calligrapher, but you might even like practice like a little calligraphy action here. Yeet or be yeeted. You know, whatever you might like to try to say with a fancy script. You would be much better off than watching me do calligraphy, watching some expert calligraphers. I'll put up a couple links to some people who are really good with calligraphy. You can see I put some guidelines here to help me stabilize my letters. I think that's highly advisable. That's a bit of advice I could give you, is to try some guidelines. Otherwise, it's kind of really important with the lettering how you hold your pen and where you put your nib. So a little practice. Definitely check out some videos and you will have a phrase of your own choosing, potentially in script in no time. All right. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with.